Welcome to Fastlane, a show that honestly, I don't understand why it exists. Now I'm sure other reviewers are going to like it. They'll say there are a few things that are not great about it, but it was a good show. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to blow any wind up your tailpipe if you're going to be in that respect. It was a show that honestly didn't need to exist. They could have skipped this for WrestleMania. Honestly, they didn't need to do the show. Everything that was on this show could have been accomplished on SmackDown or Raw. 100%, it didn't need to happen at a pay-per-view. This was a huge waste of time. Honestly, for me, it was a huge waste of time. Was some of the stuff on it good? Yeah. But it made no sense to have it as a pay-per-view. Let's go to the Kickoff Show. Two things happened. One, we had New Day versus, I don't know why, New Day had to go up against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. What was the point? Why? There was no point in having the match. There was no point in even doing the match. And we thought Andrade, CM Almost, and Rey Mysterio was going to be on the show, on the Kickoff Show. That didn't happen. Of course, you'll know why. But that match didn't even need to happen. That could have been a random SmackDown match. The second thing is what happened with Kofi Kingston. Before New Day went out, Kofi went up to Kevin Owens and said, look, I'm not happy what happened, but I hope you win. I got no problems with you. Okay. Then Kofi Kingston was approached by somebody saying simply, the McMahons want to see you about WrestleMania and your match. Okay. You're thinking, well, this might be interesting. This might be something leading and building up Kofi Kingston, which it does. And let's go into the first match, which is not going to be the Usos versus Shane McMahon and The Miz. It's going to be Kofi Kingston. Thought that was going to be a match between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens. Nope. That does not happen. You pretty much have Kofi Kingston in a 2-on-1 handicap match with The Bar. Now, let me give a little context why this happened. Kofi was waiting outside Vince's office. New Day, after they finished the match, went to check up on Kofi. Kofi is saying for the last hour he's been waiting outside the office. Xavier Woods and Biggie Langston go into the office. Kofi follows, and you see Vince himself on the phone. He gets up, and it's pretty much Biggie and Xavier Woods that's telling him, look, you need to do something about this. Kofi is a main eventer. You've been looking for a great main eventer. The guy's been with you 11 years. He legitimately has bled for you. He has been consistent. He's been working for your company. He's been working for you. Give him a shot. And what did Vince say? He says, all right, tonight, for the WWE Championship, there will be a triple threat. And for you, Kofi, your match is coming up next. And that's what happened that led to The Bar, a handicap match 2-on-1 against Kofi, which he had some level of defense, but he got his butt handed to him. And then once the rest of New Day came down to try and assist because they were barred from ringside, because that's what Vince said. I know I didn't say it, but I'm leaving it at that. You got Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev coming out afterwards. As they're running down, they attack New Day. Why? This didn't need to be done on this pay-per-view. This could have been done on SmackDown Live. Honestly, it could have been. Yes, I know nobody wants a triple threat. It could have still been a lie saying that was going to be a match on SmackDown Live. Kofi's getting in the ring, but then he could get the attack from The Bar and get beaten up by The Bar and having the match with The Bar and still lose and all that. It could have still been done on SmackDown Live. 100%. Made no difference. Now, the first match of the night that actually is in line, that is the Usos versus Shane McMahon and The Miz. Now, I'm going to say this. The match was very good. It was. But I knew there was something wrong. Because when I watched the Usos in the very opening of the match, as they were wrestling, something didn't seem right. Something was off. I didn't know what it was. I felt like, wait a minute, why are these guys looking off? At first I thought, what, Jimmy or Jay is drinking? Because it doesn't seem like this is right. There's something is wrong. And then I'm thinking, wait, they can't be drinking. There's got to be something wrong. Something's missing. Something is happening. So I waited until the end of the match, and the Usos managed to retain, which I'm not surprised. They have, I don't know if they renegotiated their contracts. They gave them the SmackDown Tag Team Championship to keep them. That wasn't a surprise. I didn't expect them to job. But then I remembered, wait a minute. Didn't people say that Shane McMahon was going to turn heel? And guess what? After Miz and Shane get out of the ring, they go over to Miz's dad, who was at ringside. I know he didn't say anything. He was at ringside. Miz gives him a hug. His dad seems to be proud of him. Shane seems to shake his hand. Shane attacks the Miz, beats the crap out of him, grabs his dad in the face, and then walks away. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I was not 100% interested in this tag team in the first place. I said this myself. It's a nice feel-good moment for The Miz because legitimately his dad actually wasn't 100% really behind him when he became a wrestler. Not 100%. I mean, I'm sure he is now, particularly he's going to be in a freaking storyline. But when he first started out, he didn't really believe he was going to get anywhere. It was a waste of time. He should come back to his burger place and work with him. But it was a feel-good moment for him. Legitimately. But now I'm being honest here. I don't want to see the feud. I don't care about the feud. You know why? Remember what I said for last year, when everyone was hyped about right around this time or a little before. The Miz versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship for this year if they're not doing it. Last year. Because we knew they weren't going to include them because we're a little too late. They weren't trying to build them up to go into the last WrestleMania. They're doing it here, that's what you thought. Nope. As I said and predicted last year, The Miz and Daniel Bryan, if they weren't done right, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't even happen. And look what we got. Shane McMahon in a feud with The Miz. Now, mind you, this is something great for The Miz because he's actually working with Vince McMahon's son. That's not a small thing to do. Seeing The Miz working, going to have a match at WrestleMania with Shane McMahon, the son of the guy who owns the company, that's not a small thing. But we all know this. We wanted to see Daniel Bryan go up against The Miz. A heel Miz, a bad guy Miz, against a good guy Daniel Bryan. And right now we're not getting it. Nothing. And I don't care about this. Zero interest, zero care. Now, okay, the next match is the WWE Championship with Daniel Bryan with... I feel sorry for Mustafa Ali. I mean, Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan, that would have been fine. But throwing Mustafa Ali in there to the Wolves was not good because when it came down to it, yes, the crowd eventually did cheer for him to a certain extent. The crowd only wanted Kofi Kingston. And the WWE throwing Mustafa Ali out there, which makes sense because they're trying to get Kofi over more, hurt him. And to me personally, I don't like to see something like that. They're using someone to get someone else over who deserves at least their own spotlight. And honestly, that was not that great. Was the match good? Hell yeah, it was. It was a good match. Having Eric Rowan involved in it did help a lot. In the end, you did have Daniel Bryan win and basically own Mustafa Ali. Because Kevin Owens didn't job here. It was Mustafa Ali who did. But in the end, I still feel sorry for Mustafa Ali. Because he really did not need to be in that situation. He didn't. They didn't need to throw him there, even though it does help Kofi Kingston. Let's be honest, it does. But still, it hurts to see Mustafa Ali put in that situation. It doesn't really help him a huge point. And I'm sure many reviewers are going to say, oh, it was great seeing Mustafa Ali there. This is a person that should have been there. This is a person that shouldn't have lost anything. And Kofi should never have been there. Look, we're being honest here. Mustafa Ali had his moment. Then he got hurt. Kofi took that moment, and to be 100% honest, and I have talked about Kofi over the years, I've never said Kofi was a piece of garbage in the ring, and I know a lot of my subscribers do think that. When it really comes down to it, a lot of people truly believe Kofi Kingston should have been a champ a long time ago, and they have never forgotten it. It doesn't make a difference if you believe that he deserves it now or not. People have not forgotten how badly treated he was. That whatever happened with Randy Orton, if it wasn't racist, he just had a bad attitude on that day, and it stopped Kofi Kingston's push flat. It doesn't make a difference if you think it was right or not, if you think he's a piece of garbage. He got his push stopped 100% flat, and no one's forgotten that. And when it comes down to it, this is Kofi Kingston's time to be put in WrestleMania. Now, do I believe it's going to happen? That he's going to win? No. But having an opportunity at WrestleMania is something that people have been wanting for a long time. I don't believe he's going to win, even though I would love him to see him win. But in the end, it's not up to me. I'd rather see him go up against Randy Orton than Daniel Bryan. I wish this next 4 weeks, Daniel Bryan goes up against Randy Orton, and I'm putting in disrespect. The feud between him and AJ Styles can be put on hold and have Randy Orton go up against Kofi Kingston. They have years of story to finish. It's never been finished. That's what I want. But that's just me. Let's move on to the Raw triple... Wait a minute. No. The Raw triple threat. Yep. For the tag titles. The Revival versus... Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. And you got Ricochet and Aleister Black. The most unique person there, Aleister Black, in a tag match with another very unique person, Ricochet, dealing with two teams who the WWE has legitimately treated so bad. It's a joke. They've done nothing with Roode and Gable, and the Revival, who have made a legitimate request to leave the company, to break their contract because they've been felt underutilized, have been given those titles, and it feels like nothing. I'm sure other people are going to say the match was great, and the match was good. I'm not going to say it's great, because in the end, it doesn't accomplish anything. Honestly, it doesn't. For me personally, it doesn't accomplish anything. It could have been done on Raw. They could have had this triple threat on Raw. And here's the reason why. You have 3 teams. 2 teams who are established on Raw, who are mostly doing nothing. And you got 2 new guys who should really be spotlighted. But then they're being spotlighted as a tag team when they don't mesh well. You got Aleister Black, who is a person who is like yin and yang, light and darkness. In a sense, successor to maybe a Undertaker, or at least a Mankind, a legitimate character that was so strange, confusing, and unique. And you got him paired up with a guy that could be like an RVD in a sense of very high flying, very high impact, charismatic, just different. You got these 2 guys in a tag team that should not be in a tag team at all. Yes, they didn't win, which is a good thing, but it does not mean they're going to break the tag team up. They legitimately do not know what to do with these guys. Zero understanding. And they're leaving them like this. And it is frustrating. So let's move on. I'm going to get this over right now. Elias was seen throughout the night playing. This time he wasn't bothered. He had like 3 or 4 segments. He was able to play his guitar, do his stick, and the only persons that came out was at the very end before the final match of the night, and that was Lacey Evans, who I really am not interested in now. If they do not put her in the ring, if they do not have her talk, she is just eye candy. I've seen her wrestle. She has some potential. But if she's only going to walk back and forth from the back to the ring and back again for who knows how many months, what is the point of her being on the pay-per-view? Do it on Raw. Do it on SmackDown. Who cares? It doesn't need to be on a freaking pay-per-view. But that's what we get with her. Then we get a good thing. We get Randy Orton RKOing the Elias. And then we get AJ Styles, well, pretty much forearming him, the phenomenal forearm, to a Randy Orton. Like I said, this will be a fresh feud. We have never seen Randy Orton ever interact with AJ Styles. They could actually have a good match with this. Not just on SmackDown Live, but you could legitimately build something around them. You got easily 15 or more years with Randy Orton. I think he's 16, nearing 17 now. And then you got AJ Styles, who has been in the company maybe only a few years, but he's been in the business easily about the same amount of time as Randy Orton, or even longer. Two professionals who know how to go in the ring when one is interested and another one is not getting pissed off. That's what you got. That's what I want to see. Now, let's get this over with. The match that made no sense whatsoever. 0 sense. Why, one, it was even done, and two, why wasn't it done on Raw? And that is the women's tag title match of Bayley, Sasha, Nia Jax, and Tamina. You know, I know people don't like Tamina, but I actually feel sorry for her. I legitimately feel sorry for her. What has she done in the last couple of years? Not counting when she's been injured. Nothing. Either they kept her in the back doing nothing, or they didn't even give her a chance to have a real storyline to do anything because, and I'm saying this again for anyone who doesn't like Tamina, it doesn't matter if you don't like her. It doesn't matter if you think she's boring. We've had women from 2009 and 8 all the way up until at least now who had no charisma, no in-ring skill, no mic skills, and the only thing they had was a curvy body, a bit of butt, and a bit of breast, and they wiggled them at not only the crowd but the other wrestlers, and they get a title. I'm being honest here. Tamina doesn't have the body that we can wiggle at. Has never been given a 100% opportunity. Anytime it's happened, they drop it like a hot potato. Not because she screwed up, it's because they just drop it. So I'm seeing this, honestly, I feel sorry for her. And legitimately, I think she should just leave the company. Go to the independent scene. I'm not saying she's one of the best wrestlers or best performers there is. But legitimately, other women who are way less than her, and she's not 100% the greatest. She's easily a good wrestler. Easily semi-good on the mic. Semi-charisma. That's more than most of the women that's been in there. And they've gotten titles. What's the difference? Nothing. She should just leave. But the match itself, was it good? Hell no, that was a botchy match. There was one point Nia Jax threw Sasha on top of Bayley so legitimately bad that she could have easily hurt either one of them or both. I say this again. Nia Jax needs to go back to NXT. She is too freaking sloppy. I truly believe she's going to hurt someone really badly. Sooner or later, she's going to throw somebody and they're going to be so legitimately hurt. What then? This is not the first time I've been saying this. I've said this numerous times for the simple reason is this. Nia Jax needs more training. It is going to happen sooner or later. Mark my words, someone's going to legitimately get really badly hurt. If it's not recorded or if it is recorded, makes no difference. Nia is very bad, and I'm not against her as a person. She's probably a sweetheart. She's probably one of the sweetest people you can meet in real life. You can probably fall in love with her and want to marry the woman. But as a wrestler, she is bad. And I'm telling you right now, if she can hurt Mustafa Ali, who was in one of the main events, it is obvious this woman is not good enough to be working in a ring without hurting people. There is working stiff, as they call it, being very physical. And then there's Nia Jax going beyond stiff because she's not really paying attention. In the end, what was this about? This wasn't about Sasha and Bayley managed to keep the titles. Nope. This was about Beth Phoenix, who now may actually become a competitor for a short time, with Natalya, maybe at WrestleMania, going up against Nia Jax and Tamina or Sasha Banks and Bayley for the freaking titles. You could have done this on Raw. You could have had this done on Raw. You didn't need to actually do this here. This could have been done as a main event on Raw, and it would actually have more shock and awe than you think. Let's move on to the second match that made no sense, which made me even infuriated. I was legitimately cursing in my apartment loudly. I heard people walking up and down in my building because around this time of night, people are coming back from going to clubs, bars, and restaurants. And I was legitimately cursing my head off. I was so angry. And that is the U.S. title being defended in a fatal four-way like it was on SmackDown. Oh, it's in my face. They legitimately repeated the same stupid match with the same ending. Why didn't they do it here? Why would you repeat? No, better yet, you realize when SmackDown Live aired last Tuesday, sorry, you see I'm angry. When Tuesday passed, they announced that Andrade Cien Almost and Rey Mysterio was going to have a match on the pre-show. On the pre-show, no one was happy. So someone decided, well, instead of having Andrade Cien Almost and Rey in the kickoff show or the pre-show, why not just repeat the same match again? Which makes no sense. Nothing was accomplished. This didn't help Rey and Andrade Cien Almost's. It didn't help their feud. They both need a real title to be fighting over. Legacy doesn't matter now. They've already gone through Legacy, and Rey has already beaten Almost already to defend his legacy. They've just been dragging it out, and it's useless. Then you have R-Truth, who instead of doing something in the back with him with the title, yes, it would have been ridiculously dumb, and many people probably wouldn't have liked it, but at least they would have been doing something with the title where at least it was seen on television. And then you got Samoa Joe, who legitimately should have won the world title 6 months ago, who legitimately should be in the main event months ago and stayed there, at least long enough to win the title, defend it, and then drop it to someone. No, he's now stuck with the U.S. title, which has no relevancy. So all four of these guys didn't gain anything. They just repeated the match from Tuesday, and Samoa Joe wins and keeps his title. And he pretty much makes Rey pass out, as you see in my face, by putting him in a coquina clutch. What a waste. That could have just, if it was going to be done, they should have never did it on SmackDown. But if you did it on SmackDown, there's no point in doing it here. Oh, I'm so angry. Legitimately, I'm angry. That was just a waste of all four of their time. Now, what do we got here? Mandy, oh, here's another match. That legitimately made me angry. That makes 3 or 4 matches. I can't even remember how many matches. It's 3 or 4. What? 4 or 3. I don't remember. I'm so mad. Asuka versus Mandy Rose for the SmackDown Women's Championship. What was that? What was that? What did it accomplish? One thing, it was bad enough that, I want to make this clear, I'm not against Mandy Rose. I'm not. I believe that she is not a bad wrestler. She has charisma. She can talk decently on the mic. And if they sponsor her right, she could be a legitimate threat for the title eventually. But working with Sonya Deville, what has she done? Weren't they supposed to be in the tag title scene? No one's there except for Nia Jax and Tamina going up against Sasha Banks and Bayley. Shouldn't they be dealing with the new tag team championship for the women? Anyway, the match was just a joke. You got Sonya trying to help Mandy so many times. Then the most dumbest ending, which made no sense. Sonya Deville digging around under the freaking... breathe. It's in my face. She's digging under the ring for no apparent reason. They're trying to sell it, saying maybe she's looking for Hornswoggle, used to live under there. Then she finds a kendo stick. Then, for no reason other than for a plot device, Mandy Rose supposedly trips on the ring skirt that was thrown up onto the mat, onto the ring. She falls, Asuka gets to win, and then Asuka walks away, and now supposedly Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville have some type of frustration between each other or conflict. What, similar to what happened with Bayley and Sasha? Is this going to be another Bayley and Sasha moment where they're going to have to work together? Or they're going to have a feud? Let's make this perfectly clear. We are now talking about Mandy and Sonya Deville instead of Asuka, the champion who has not done anything. In fact, if you guys have seen Sheamus' Brave Change YouTube channel, he just put up a video of Asuka talking semi-decent English. Semi-decent English. She wasn't perfect. And I can tell that she still has a problem understanding English. But legitimately, the woman can talk English. Why is she not shown? Why is she not allowed to talk other than just a little bit that she says? It is... You probably see them in my face. The Brave Change stuff. I'm going to get the image. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to put it on here. And you're going to see that she's doing something with Sheamus. And she can speak English. Not great English, but at least she can speak it. Calm. Okay. Let's move on to... Am I forgetting anything? Okay. Becky versus Charlotte. Another match that could have been done on Raw. I know it's important that they have to set it up for WrestleMania, but to be honest, you could have done it on Raw. You know why? Was the match good? No. I wasn't even interested. Because when it comes down to it, Bayley... No, not Bayley. You see, I'm so angry. I'm getting Bayley and Becky mixed up. When it comes to Becky, they stole so much of her steam that when that match was going on, legitimately, I barely heard anyone cheering or cheering for Becky. The crowd was mostly dead for that match. Not saying they didn't cheer eventually for her, but they didn't care. Not as much as they've been caring. The match really wasn't interesting. At one point, I don't even know if I can grab the image. I'm going to have to see if I can. Where Charlotte legitimately put her foot on top of Becky's head. And as botchy as Charlotte is, she legitimately slipped her foot off of Becky's head. What the hell? It wasn't like she was just kicking her. She put her foot on top of Becky. And it slid off. Why did she even do it in the first place? What this really comes down to, what was the point of the match? Because in the end, Miss Ronda Rousey, the current Raw Women's Champion, can do whatever the hell she wants. She stated it on Raw that you can't fire me, Stephanie. I can do whatever the hell I want. So what does she do? She runs down to the ring, attacks Becky to disqualify Charlotte. Because the rules that usually go is that, and this, I'm doing this for my cousin Jen, because I found out she actually sent me an email and said she's been watching. So if she's watching this, hiya Jen. Sorry. But when it comes down to it, in a wrestling match, if another party comes into the ring and attacks the opposite person, let's say that Hulk Hogan was up against Macho Man Randy Savage, and let's say Miss Elizabeth, who is for Macho Man Randy Savage, attacks Hulk Hogan. That means Macho Man Randy Savage, who legitimately knows Elizabeth, gets disqualified because he knows Elizabeth. Technically speaking, the opposite person who gets attacked loses. In other words, who doesn't get attacked loses. The one who gets attacked normally wins. That's how it goes. In this respect, why didn't they do this on Raw? Why didn't they just do this 1 week from now or another week to get her started? Because as it stands, the build for this feud between Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch is terrible. Adding Charlotte did not help. Booking Becky as someone who is weak, who is an underdog, who's playing to having an injury. Not saying she couldn't have a real injury, but it makes no sense. It's garbage. Finally, the last match of the night. The Shield versus pretty much the jobbers of Baron Corbin, of Drew McIntyre, and of Bobby Lashley. And I hate saying Drew McIntyre because the man worked so hard to get back here. And he legitimately is being treated like garbage. They're doing nothing with him. It's so sad. It's so sad. You could have even done something with Bobby Lashley, who's not very good as a talker. He's not incredibly great in the ring. But even then, you could do something with him. Something. And I'm not even talking about Corbin because he's been buried because of the bad booking he's gone through. In the end, this was supposed to be a feel-good moment, having the Shield back together one last time. And this is where things get interesting. In the beginning of the show, the kickoff show, it was stated that Dean Ambrose is not re-signing his contract. Interesting. Because normally they don't state it. They don't state when a person's not going to re-sign. They don't. So it makes you wonder, are they trying to play this up? So throughout the night, they've stated this, and then when the match happened, they stated it again. Was it a good match? It was a good match. I'm not going to say it was garbage. It was a good match. You got the other members of the Shield outside, and eventually you got Roman Reigns in the ring with Baron Corbin. You got Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose doing everything they can in the crowd to make this interesting. Jumping on top of Drew McIntyre, jumping on top of Bobby Lashley. At one point, Seth Rollins legitimately jumped off of one of the areas where the people are sitting, and he nailed everyone who was together because Dean jumped in the arms of Drew and Bobby, and then Seth jumped on top of them. And I think Bobby might have almost gotten a concussion because he landed so hard onto the pavement. Either wood or the actual pavement of the arena. In the end, I didn't expect the Shield to lose here because supposedly this is over. That's if it is. But in the end, what did we get here? We got a good feel-good moment at the end because people were interested in seeing the Shield. We don't know if the situation with Dean is really over because now they're stating that he won't resign, that he's going to be leaving, so we don't know. They could have actually done this at WrestleMania, actually. But they decided to do it here. I don't know if they're actually going to do a feud between Dean and Roman Reigns. Maybe they will. I don't know. But this entire show, it didn't need to exist. All of this could have been done on 2 or 3 Raw and SmackDowns. You could have done one on Raw, one on SmackDown, another one on Raw. That would have been it. Honestly. That's the way they've been booking it. You could have done 2 Raws and 1 SmackDown to do all of this. And this pay-per-view was just, what was the point? It didn't need to exist. They could have done more without the pay-per-view than they have now with it. But this is my point of view. You guys have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!